Hello, welcome to the Vanity Files. This is episode 97, Tokyo Field Reports, with Immigration Unit, who are in town from Switzerland. I want to talk to them about the music scene in Switzerland, their Japan tour, of course, recording process, writing process, things like that. You know, talking about music. Some people say talking about music is like dancing about architecture. Disagree. We can talk about music. I also want to talk to them about immigration over there and what's kind of going on in Europe at the moment. Switzerland has like a neutral perspective. Let's see if these guys do. Or maybe they're just going to be standing around town holding a bunch of cuckoo clocks and eating tons of chocolate. Who knows, with some sort of well-used rifle that is not politicized, right? Switzerland, what's up? I took the old girlfriend out to the public baths, the onsen in central Tokyo here. There's one called L'Aqua right next to an amusement park. It's pretty cool. It's vast. The amount of space allocated to relaxation in L'Aqua is tremendous. Just people are lying on these couches and chairs everywhere, and they have little screens and flat screen TVs next to them that they can scroll through, but most people are just scrolling on their iPhones in front of televisions. We paid a little bit extra, went into like this upper room. Well, first there's like all these onsens, these natural baths with heavy salt in the water and milk in the water, and you go and you clean yourself from head to toe, and you just dunk into these different baths. And there's outside baths where you can sit in the sun and be totally naked and just enjoy feeling your body soak up all of the minerals in the sun in a little onsen pool. And everyone's clean. And I kind of like the idea of public baths. You get to see what people look like. I think it actually keeps you healthier because you have to expose yourself to everybody. Of course, there's some fatties, but generally people in Japan are very thin. And I think it's because they have these public baths where you have to essentially expose yourself to other men, and the women have to expose themselves to other women. So there you go. I think it promotes a healthy society. It would be interesting to see public baths come back. Could you imagine public baths in America with the obesity rate the way it is? Oh, it would be disgusting. Just Pillsbury doughboys rolling around in the water, getting all pink from the heat. Blech. No thanks. Maybe in 50 years, once all of the obesity people, they die from heart attacks, their children learn from their mistakes, and hopefully their grandchildren will eventually realize, I don't need to eat 50 donuts a day. So the luxury part of this public baths, L'Aqua in Suidobashi, Tokyo. I also got like a Thai massage, and living in Tokyo, like sometimes you want to go for a massage, but these massage places, you're like, is this gonna be like a oily hand jobby place, or is this place legit? It's really hard to tell. So at least with L'Aqua, it's legit because you're there with your girlfriend, and it's pretty professional. And I had this total Thai massage done to me from head to toe again. And I'd had some accidents in the past where I'd been in a bicycle accident, and my knee's always giving me these issues. And this old Thai lady, she got into these areas, and usually I don't let people touch me on my shoulder or on my knee because it's sensitive, but she could, like a butcher holding a piece of meat, she could just kind of tell immediately what was wrong with me. And she started kneading these very specific parts of my shoulder and behind the knee. It hurt like fuck. And I'm just thinking the entire time, why am I giving you $100 to make me feel this type of pain? But today I can move my shoulder like I haven't been able to in 10 years, just for like 25 minutes of muscle therapy. I was like, whoa, of rehabilitation. Rehabili, as she liked to call it. So there we go. big recommend if you ever come to Tokyo, check out L'Aqua. I have a little tattoo, but I can cover it. They don't really allow a lot of tattoos, so if you got a lot of tattoos, you're fucked. But if you're pure, if your skin is pure and absent from the evil deeds of the tattoo ink, then you have free reign to let your balls hang out, let your tits swing, wander around naked, plunge yourselves into baths, walk around. They have these lovely stone floors that are heated underneath. The texture that your feet go through in this place is insane because they got like the wet concrete in the baths and the stones, and they got the heated stone floors, and they got these tatami mat areas like straw mats, and there's these rooms that are heated to like 80 degrees, and you go and you sit in them, and you sweat, and then you come out and the sweat goes away, and you go into these other rooms. It's all about relaxation. It's all about relaxation. There's no excitement, and everyone's super quiet, and you're just kind of walking around finding ways to totally relax. And you realize how busy you are in Tokyo. How busy are we in Tokyo? Hey, Tokyo, how busy are you? Busy as fuck. Yeah, I thought so. It just makes you busy. I have a job and it's only 9 to 5, but I fill up my shit every night with shit to do. I'm busy. And it's wonderful to just put the brakes on, get out of the car, take off all your clothes, float around in the sun, and let your balls hang out, let your tits swing around. All right. I've had some sparse releases with the podcast. That's because I'm getting ready. The past 10 years have been fun regarding technology. The aim has been, hey, we got these smartphones. Let's use them. Okay, do. But in the next 10 years, we're going to see a very serious technologies come into our lives in the forms of sensors embedded in everything. If the 5G network pulls off, then we're really looking at some encroachment into our lives. The technology creep, it's going to expand. Too many people are dying from their smartphones. So we got to make it safer. We got to put them into windscreens on or windshields and things like that in cars. So, and social media is getting really fucked up. It's become more powerful than mainstream. So mainstream is trying to gouge out its brains and make it wear better jeans. That's what happens to subculture. And there's been a lot of censorship on Twitter and Facebook. Facebook keeps changing its algorithms. So every time they change their algorithms, everything in my feed changes. And that means when I'm trying to promote the podcast or music or whatever, that means it suddenly changes for everybody else too. So you spend this time trying to build up this little presence or whatever, a little thing, and then the Facebook engineers kind of come out and say, now we're changing the algorithms, and they just kind of scramble. It's like you take a long time doing your hair, and then your dad comes by, he's like, hey, nice haircut, and he raffles all your hair, and he's like, Dad, now you gotta do it again. That's kind of how I feel like with social media. So I'm trying to build up my own website. I've been buying better microphones, and I don't trust the numbers on social media. So I'm going to try to centralize my content because I still want to, do this. Why not? Why the hell not? We're busy as fuck. But I want to be able to put it and have a centralized hub on my own website and then use other outlets to get it out. So I'm trying to find my own ways to record music, and that requires me learning how to mic drums and mic a guitar and then do mixing and things like that. And then I can have people come in and lay down separate tracks and then release music that way. Continue doing the podcast and then continue doing another thing. So that's why. The next 10 years, people, get ready. It's going to be very serious indeed. They'll mask it as fun. But it's really, as they're really pushing a fourth technological revolution or an industrial revolution. And those are serious. Industrial revolutions tend to be serious. So I'm getting ready for it. And I'm tired of having the social engineers on social media, just being able to change everything all of the time. And oh, look at all these new rules. Oh, you're banned now for saying this thing, and now you're banned for saying that thing. And I'm like, why are these 22-year-old engineers working at Facebook in charge of creating algorithms and artificial intelligence programs for the whole world? And these things are just going to be shooting into the satellites, going into the subterranean and sub underwater sea cables at like lightning speeds, and they're netting our Earth with these algorithms. And something in me kind of says, that looks like a storm that's coming. I better batten down the hatches, get my own shit ready, and send out the signals from there. All right, so that's my introduction. Please remember to check out Immigration Unit. They have a Facebook page. I'll try to talk to them about getting their own website. Everybody should have their own little hub. Maybe they do, and I just didn't find it. Like and subscribe to the podcast, of course. That's mandatory. And check out the previous episodes of band interviews and of Jamcasts. Jamcasts are good if you've just been having a few drinks and you're coming home, you're walking home, you're on the bus home or something like that. These are a good compendium for that. And then, of course, the media and review and the Drink a Beer With Me episodes. Check them out. I'm up to almost 100 episodes here. And I think that's about it. The song of the week is called For Inside. It's by Immigration Unit. It's kind of long. It's like 6 minutes long, but it's very melodic, and I like the approach. Interesting time signatures in the music as well. Nice ghost beats on the snare drum as well. I quite like those. And the tone of the guitar, cool tone, like a soft tone. So check them out. Let's get ready. On the other side, we will be in Nakano with Immigration Unit on their Japan 2018 tour. It begins now.
Random or dead, falling in the night. It's easy to hide there behind blind this wall. You're walking on sand. Can you feel your feet? I think you're stepping on white horse. Look down at yourself, holding barriers like all the lonely people, fearing failure like all the lonely people, wearing dry masks like all the lonely people. You stare at the black box like all the lonely people. Sunshine, compression. To see my true self, so tiresome to look for. Sometimes I give a do I say? I seek the silence on my skin, undying warm eyes as my drives unfold into the void. Here, 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 here. Far inside does me. What do I say? I seek the silence of my skin, undying warm eyes as my drives unfold into walking all lives, like all the lonely people, fearing strangers, like all the lonely people, wearing dry masks, like all the lonely people. You stare at the black box, like all the lonely people. For inside, does mean what do I say? I think the silence in my skin and dying warm eyes as my drives unfold into the void. Here, 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 here. Far inside does mean what do I say? I seek the silence of my skin. I'm dying warm noise as my drives evolve into the void. Here, 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 here.
Let's do this. So we are in the park. I don't know which park. A park in Nakano. It's 4:35 on a Sunday. And who's Giovanni?
It's me.
Giovanni, what do you think of the thing on top of that clock there?
Mesmerizing. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What is that? Like it collects wind or what is it?
I don't know. It collects inspiration. All right.
Inspiration for sure.
It's time for immigration report. You guys are from Switzerland. Who's going to introduce the band?
I could.
All right. We
Anybody
need
could.
that microphone a bit closer to your face.
Yeah. All right. So we are actually immigration unit, not entirely a Swiss band. So we are coming from all over around the world: Venezuela, France, Switzerland, and Italy. But we came together in Basel some years ago when we ended up living together. And
In
yes,
Basel?
Basel,
Where's that?
in like on the north of Switzerland,
Okay. So the German side?
Swiss German side.
Okay.
Yeah. But nobody speaks Swiss German properly. The only one which speaks German is this guy on keys. Yeah, basically then we started playing together many concerts, from jazz to noise to improvised music to folk to gypsy. What else? Blues, I guess.
True.
But then we also wanted to have like more of a original band, and I started singing after doing my folk gigs, and then all this passion for Radiohead, Rage Against the Machine, Gorillaz, John Hopkins, and all the artists that we love came together in this project. And yeah, that's it.
All right. And let's do a round of introductions here. So you said you're Giovanni and your vocals and guitars?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the bearded gentleman next to you?
I'm Noe. I play the drums.
You're the drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're into alternative time signatures.
Yeah, a little bit. Not so much though.
No?
No.
Do they force you to do this? Because I've listened to
did.
some of the songs and you're switching to 3/4. Sounds like you got some 7/8
Yeah,
in
exactly.
there.
Well, I don't want to. I just want to play 4/4. Actually, 1/4 will be the best for me. Just
Keep it simple.
will be the best.
Yeah, you need to join R&B,
Yeah, I should. I
R.
should.
Kelly cover band. I don't think R. Kelly does a lot of waltz.
I don't know.
No? Okay. Sure, you're on drums. Who's next?
I'm Daniel. I'm a bass player and I play synths as well and sing.
You're from Venezuela then.
I'm from Caracas, yeah.
Caracas.
Yeah.
That place is burning up. Are you okay? Is your family okay?
Yeah, my parents are living there, but yeah, they just have to take care of themselves. So now that I'm here in the other side of the world, they know that I'm safe and no one will come with a knife and try to rob me or kill me. So
Wow.
everything's cool.
What did they have, like diesel and fences and weapons?
I mean, the thing is that there's like so much general-sized criminalization. So wherever you go, you know, you don't know which one's the person that actually is gonna rob you or try to do whatever to you. So
Sure, and I hear that I saw a video of humans and dogs eating out of garbage.
yeah, it's that's the reality that we live right now. There, it's like wherever you go. I mean, you're like maybe in a restaurant, but like I don't know, you see outside in the street and there's people like literally eating from the garbage because they
Wow.
have nothing to do. I mean, nothing. They don't have any money, and the government doesn't support them. So it's a really crazy, surrealist environment.
Wow, that sounds so crazy. It's hard to even comprehend. The good thing about having this podcast is I get to ask people who are from the places, like, because the news isn't always true.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
so-
I mean, you see like just a really small part of what it is actually Venezuela. So
They even pointed a gun at you, right?
yes, they did. They robbed me 2 times, and actually the reason why I came out of Switzerland, I mean, I came to Switzerland, and I came out of Caracas is because they tried to rob me, and they pointed a gun to my face, like, give me your phone. And by luck, I had like 3 or 4 cars behind. I was in a traffic jam, and there was a police. And usually the police are as corrupt as whatever
Sure.
other.
Give
I
me
mean,
your phone.
yeah, exactly. But they were doing their job, and they were like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the guy was like, you were lucky, and really bad word, and he just hit me and ran away.
Holy
So
shit.
what I remember is just seeing like police lights and like a police guy coming to you like, hey kid, are you okay? You know, we're gonna escort you to your house. And I came bleeding to my house, and my mom just went crazy. And from that, actually, I didn't want to go out of Venezuela. I was like I wanted to bet on my country.
Yeah.
But after that day, she was like, I don't care, whatever you want, you know, you're going out of Venezuela. And
Holy
in
crap.
about 6 months, I was out.
It sounds like the introduction from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, maybe. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually dances as good as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, good introduction. And what about you?
I'm Alvin, and I play the keys. And I'm coming from Switzerland, so I'm I mean after
Safest.
yeah, like after hearing about Caracas and all this stuff, it's coming to like normal. I mean, like the bubble from Switzerland. And it's also nice to see, like, to have influence from those guys that come to this kind of situation, and that you realize where you're living, and that you notice, because I think that in Switzerland a lot of people are like not realizing the luck they have to be there.
Yeah, I've went there a few years ago, and very clean and organized. Yeah,
Mm.
it's good.
A lot of bills as well.
A lot of bills,
Yeah,
No red papers.
red
a lot of
papers,
zeros after.
banking, gold. So do you have gold and cuckoo clocks and dark chocolate?
A lot of gold.
A lot of gold.
no.
What about the cuckoo clocks? Do you call them cuckoo clocks?
No, actually, we don't call them cuckoo clocks. But I come from La Chaux-de-Fonds, and it's like the place where they sell the most watches, I think.
And
Okay.
absinthe.
Yeah, also absinthe.
Absinthe. That's right. Yes, Switzerland has a rich absinthe
Exactly.
culture. Yeah. So, what kind? I hear it's different from the Czech absinthe. Isn't it the color? Isn't it different? Isn't the taste different? Isn't
It depends, because like the real absinthe was forbidden because there is a substance that like gives you a hallucination. and this
Wormwood.
yeah, exactly. And so when there is this substance, it's more yellow or greenish yellow, you know. And when there is not this substance, it's just white, transparent.
But
Okay.
it gets yellowish when you fill it up with water.
Yeah.
But I guess when we played in La Chaux-de-Fonds, there was this crazy lady which invited us on the mountain somewhere
to
to
like
drink absinthe, and I think that was the real one, right? We didn't go, but
Why not?
she was looking for something else too, I guess.
Whoa. How old was she?
Maybe 45, I don't remember.
Oh wow. Absinthe tits.
Didn't find it out.
The
but
tits of absinthe in the mountains of Switzerland.
sounds like
she
a
produces it by
nice story.
herself. like,
Yeah.
all the
Wow.
way through.
Okay. And that's why you guys are called Immigration Unit then.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are first of all an immigration unit ourselves, and we also want to like be together or come together with other groups of society and try to like put some light on some problems and
Like what? Because
situations.
immigration's a huge issue right now. Does it
Yeah.
tie into that?
yeah, sometimes some our lyrics of ours talk about like it's mostly so far it has been mostly about existence problems and wars like bombing, but also of course there is always this underlining presence of a critic about the policies which some countries act with, like this being better of a country compared to people coming from other lower countries from another, like from Africa, or basically like the governments which make some people being more equal than others, even though we should be all kind of the same. But
Yeah.
there is this big difference, and since we are all immigrants anyway, because there were these big movements of
Population.
migrating populations
Yeah.
100 years ago, that doesn't make a sense anymore to us.
It's I read a book by Douglas Murray called The Strange Death of Europe, and he's like a gay man from England, and he's really worried about the amount of Muslims moving into his neighborhoods because they want him dead. So he's trying to be like a proper member of society and a gay man, and then all of a sudden these people come in that want to kill him, and he's like, these are at odds with some of the existing policies we have already. I imagine things like that are really difficult to cope with. Like not from a racist perspective, but just like competing ideologies. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, in this case, religion has a big impact over the situation, and of course, if you think that there is somebody which is more worthy to believe in, then these ideologies are gonna collide, and they separate people, while people without these ideologies would be easily probably not having problems between each other. So
You know what I think,
Yes.
man? I think music brings people together a lot more than politics. Because I play in a lot of international bands. And once I went and saw an orchestra in central Tokyo, and it was made up of people from Japan, North Korea, South Korea, and China playing like Tchaikovsky. And they're like, music is bringing us together, not politics, you know? And like this is the same thing with you, and the same thing with some of my other bands. We're not together because of some political ideology. We're together because we all share a huge passion for music. And for me, that's. I wonder why we don't do that. You know, people would be like, "Hey, let's play music together,"
yeah,
instead of like, "Hey, let's struggle ideologically."
let's make like an all-star band with Trump and Putin. They would, like,
Sure.
The world would really take advantage of this. Probably.
Probably Trump would sing so bad.
Probably, yeah. He
Maybe
always
he's an
does.
angel.
It's hilarious. Yeah, because Japan has very strict immigration policies, and you can see that there's very little crime. And my international friends are like theoretical physicists and teachers, and we don't have to worry about criminality at all. So there's a bit of a trade-off between, but again, sometimes the policies are so strict that it is an overprotection kind of a policy. And like, I'm a Canadian, I'm a huge minority in Japan. Like I'm less than 0.001% of the population. But when I compare like their policies and I feel like safe here, I struggle as well to go like, well, who do you let in? You take a policy and you try to apply it to a person. They're two very separate things. But then some people are responsible for implementing policy that affect people on very personal levels. It's like, how do you deal with that? I don't know how to deal with that. It's a really tough thing to question. What I'm saying right now, how does it resonate with the guy from Caracas? Sorry, Alvin?
No,
No,
Daniel.
Daniel.
Danielle, sorry.
Well, actually, for me, it's I'm like the most problematic of the group. I mean, like trying to go some places because I don't know, Venezuelans are seen now as the, I mean, a really bad country. I mean, and,
Yeah.
of course we have fame because of that, because of Chavez, Maduro, and like many other things. But I mean, I'm the only one who has to ask for visas and like do all this paperwork, and I don't know, like somehow immigration. I lost the point of whatever I was talking about. My bad.
Maybe you should talk about your embassy travels and what happened there. Like,
Oh yeah, well actually coming to Japan, I mean I needed to go to Bern to do my visa for Japan.
Yeah.
And I went there and it was closed, even though that it was I mean it's an embassy and it should be open every single day.
I agree.
But and especially Japan, that people are very like
Precise.
Super precise.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
love checking
And-
boxes.
and
Probably more than the Swiss.
I don't know.
true. I don't know.
Maybe that they like watch for this.
They do love watches.
But yeah, I mean, I went there and it was like a whole issue because I don't have like a HAL tax, that it's like a half price on every single train in Switzerland. So at the end, just for the trip, just for going and returning, it was like around 80 francs. So I went there and like with all my papers and everything was closed. And then I had to go another day and then to pick up the visa another day, as well with the visa for the UK, because we recorded our album in London. So all the time it's an issue for me to actually get to places that we all want to go.
Yeah, I could see that being a problem. Yeah, so then there's like this whole thing like, hey, we're going to stand up for the policies of our country, but then just be totally lazy about the bureaucratic implementation of those policies, right? It's kind of lazy, government laziness, like banks closing at 3 p.m., yet claiming to, uphold the standard of a nation's currency.
True.
Give me a fucking break. All right, we can move on from. Oh, but before we do, you seem like a guy who doesn't hate immigration. So when you consider the Swiss policies about this type of thing, like what's your feeling about it?
I think like it's really split also inside Switzerland, because like we have this like political party from the right that really kind of wants to close up the border, and it's a majority in Switzerland, and I would say like it's also a majority of the German speaking, because the country like speaks French, Italian, German, and a fourth language that nobody knows.
What's that called?
Romanche.
No, yeah.
It's like 4% of the population that speaks it. And I would say like that's one of the main splits between the French and the French part and the Swiss German part, because like we would like, I mean, for example, I've seen, since I'm living in Basel, I see in my city that it's like maybe 40,000 inhabitants, and which is like maybe like the third biggest city, so it's really like a
Swiss French.
from the Swiss French part, right?
Right.
So it's like a small city, and I see like every year more foreign people coming there, and I mean I do feel this kind of also hate from people that I know, and that's you would never think that they would be against immigration, but yeah, it's really hard to like know where to stand against this.
Yeah, I would like to see, instead of like pro or against, like how much. That's a question I think is a good one. Like how much do we need? Like I could say I want to drink all the beer I want every day, but that's not going to really benefit me in the long term, right? Like I want to, but I know that it's not good for me in the long run. And
you mean the balance?
balance, yeah. So if, I'm speaking as a migrant, and I'm wondering at the same time, what if 50,000 people every month started coming from North Korea into Japan? Are we just going to go on our
Yeah, because of course it's like all the tradition that we have here. They don't mean anything for people coming to our places, or and it's always. I mean, also those people don't really want to always integrate to new, to their new places. And I think this conflict is something there we have to find a solution. Like, what would they have to like learn from our society or our traditions to like make it feel all right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of.
All right.
The opposite too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I know it's like a tough conversation, but
sure.
I want to have these honest conversations because, like I said, with the news, sometimes they fan the flames and you're not sure what people are actually thinking. And the news claims to represent people when they might not actually be representing them. So it's like, for me, it's really valuable, to be honest, to be able to sit down with you guys and just be like, okay, what's going on, right? Because,
it's cool.
yeah.
And I mean, newspapers belong mostly to people which have a lot of money, and to print so many copies or to have a TV channel, you need to have money. So you're already part of a certain specific group of society. And
Yeah.
probably the internet opened up all the other voices
Mhm.
that maybe are more spread into the normal, poor, or like moderately wealthy people. And there's a big...
That's how it is in Venezuela. I mean, like all the media, it's just controlled by the government. My father was working in a TV station, and just because they didn't like what they were like, I mean, they were just saying bad stuff about the government, but I mean, it was the truth. So
Yeah.
they just closed the channel, and like all the guarantees, you know, they were like taken by. So I mean, now my father is jobless or unemployed, and I see that as well. I mean, in the States, it's the same. You with Fox News and CNN, you know, it's like either Democrats or Republicans. So it's all the time who has more money and controls the information, you know.
In Venezuela, the first way to know about what's going on is Facebook, right? Now the first platform.
Twitter, it's actually the biggest source of information, like free information in Venezuela, because I mean all the TV news stations and everything is like everything's like good in Venezuela, unicorns around, and
Yeah, I love
stars,
unicorns.
everything's
About
you know,
time.
come to Venezuela, you know, like everything's nice and hot and all, but it is not like that.
Yeah. Twitter's good for that because you can just hashtag search and get a whole bunch of video feeds and be like, okay,
definitely.
that's interesting. Anything else about the immigration? Seeing as your name has the word immigration in it?
Well, yeah, we just want to invite people to think of people as beings, individuals, and not starting from a point of view which separate them from their nationality, because this has meanings which come from a really nationalistic ideology, which is not so old if you go back centuries. So a lot of people have nationality as really the first way to divide people, and they just exclude a lot of other less wealthy or with a different skin color people, like they separate them from themselves for feeling this big difference.
Yeah.
And that brings a lot of problems and miscommunication between people which just were born in different places in a certain moment, but this shouldn't have such a big impact on the situation of certain people.
Yeah. That's why I say music brings people together,
Exactly.
because I didn't know Daniel was from Caracas. I just saw him like, oh, he's a musician, but
Exactly.
I didn't have all of this presuppositions in my
Yeah.
brain. And then you mentioned one word, my brain gets filled up with all this media garbage.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
kind of bizarre, isn't it? It's like, oh, downloading from somewhere a whole bunch of ideas because somebody said a word.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when you see a lot of, I don't know, wars being fought. Like you see the news and you see in Syria that's happening, or the tensions between Russia and USA. And we are like in Basel, where the scene is really international, and you see bands coming, playing concerts, or you see groups of our surrounding friends, maybe like a Russian guy with a Ukrainian guy, and then you see like a Syrian guy playing with a guy from USA, and or all these big mixtures, and then you think like, how could we have a problem as big as our countries, like between me and you, that are playing together right now, and nobody's bombing anybody, and we're just having fun.
Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. Stop the bombing. Okay, let's move on to your Japanese tour. So you guys are in Japan. everyone here is in Japan for the first time?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah? Everyone. So why did you choose to come to Japan?
Well, it was a funny situation because we first we were in Basel, and I was playing like a folk.
Sounds like a spice.
Basel,
yeah,
yeah.
like this, I've never heard of
Many
Basel.
people call it Basel.
Basel, yeah. Okay. So anyways, you're in Basel?
I was in Basel and I was playing like some folk songs. What was it? Tans van Zandt. And then after I played, I got to talk with a Chinese guy, and then that Chinese guy presenting himself. He was like a scholar, like literature studies student, but also like a kind of booker.
This is 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock in Japan, all of the clocks play a song. Sometimes at 6 p.m. The song is not always the same. The song can have variants. For example, I've never heard this song before. However, outside of my house, there is another clock playing a different song at this very same moment. All of the clocks are lined up to play at the same time. They are aligned to play at the same time, the same minute. They are not a second off from each other, meaning they all chime together in harmony, in Japanese harmony. In Japan, they love the circle. The circle represents the group. The clock is also a circle representing the group, and everyone acts in unison at the same time at 5 p.m., meaning you take time to acknowledge the day has come, and it's the salaryman's time to realize that his day is half over.
Nice. Sounds like some Snow White song.
Oh, went up there.
No. What was I saying? Yeah. So we got to talk with this Chinese multicultural student and also booker, and we found out that he organized some Chinese tour for friends of ours in the past year. And then Alvin got to talk with him as well. And then we started like sending some mails to each other, and he discovered our band. And then suddenly he invited us to take part to this Chinese tour, which was like 2 weeks long.
Where in China?
All over the places.
All
like,
over. Like-
probably 13 cities.
Going inside, like into central China?
As well, like probably the plan was like 700 kilometers of train average a day. So since we were organizing that big tour, we thought that it would have been nice to also
extend it.
go somewhere around China, because it was close somehow anyway.
Closer than Switzerland.
Closer than Switzerland, yeah. So we thought about Japan, and we found some connections, and we started organizing the gigs. But in the end, 2 months ago, we were not completely satisfied about the organization and also the economical plan, budget plan of the Chinese part. So we cancelled it, and we just ended up coming to Japan.
How many shows are you playing, and where are you playing? You can promote the shows.
5 or 6 shows, maybe 5.
5, I think.
At Melodia.
Yeah, Melodia. When is that?
Is gonna be on Friday.
Friday. Oh, so your first show is on Friday.
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We're gonna start from. Let me check. I don't remember the venue name.
Bubble.
No, it's the Live Freak. No, sorry, it's the Tachikawa Bubble.
Tachikawa Babel.
Yeah, tomorrow. Then we have on Tuesday.
Monday,
we're gonna
that's
be
Monday.
Yeah, Monday number 19th.
March 19th.
March 19th.
Yeah.
Then on the 20th we're off. On the 21st we're gonna go to Live Freak
That's in Shinjuku.
in Shinjuku. Then on the 22nd we'll be at the Melodia in Nakano.
Okay.
And on the 23rd we're gonna be on the 7th Avenue in Yokohama. And in the end, the last gig of the tour is gonna be at the Lotus in Yotsuya.
Nice. Cool. Well,
forward.
the information will be in the show notes, so people listening just click on the thing and the information will appear.
Perfect.
All right. What are some of your preconceptions? Because you've never been here before. You've heard about Japan all your life. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to get some like preconceptions, and then and then I'll message you after you leave, and then you can tell me what's been broken and what's been established. So Japanese preconceptions. Japanese preconceptions. What is you?
Well, yesterday it was crazy to go around the streets where were we?
Shinjuku.
We're in Shinjuku, and all these
Shinjuku.
lights. And actually, yeah, I mean, I would have never thought that there would be houses like these boyfriend houses, like where you can rent a boyfriend. Like we were with Christina, and thinking like,
Oh, the host clubs?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
what is that?
There's a huge demand for companionship. Japanese people can be pretty lonely because they spend a lot of time at work, and the culture is so formal. There's not a lot of touching between individuals. So rich women will pay like huge amounts of money for men to serve them champagne and get them to drink out of her shoes and do all this kind of crazy stuff. And it's all like paid companionship. There's a long history of it. Even the geisha were known for being not whores, but paid companions, livening up the party. Like you bring people in to liven up the place. Like it's like informal, formal informality, where you're in this. Okay, I'm in this place and it does this, so let's do that. And that's kind of what those rent-a-boyfriend places are like.
It's crazy to think of. 'Cause didn't expect. Yeah, well, I think the city is huge, so there is a lot to expect, and also not much possibility to predict everything that it's gonna be.
Yeah, but like also just to come back, the question was like, what do you have like as preconception now? That's
Right
like
now.
Right
before.
now, yeah. So you come into Japan. What are some of these evil thoughts roaming? Like he said, Caracas, and I got this big download of information from my brain. You're coming to Tokyo. What kind of download are you getting?
All this high tech for me, it's like Japan world is like so high tech, and it's the last thing that's in the world, and I don't know. It's for me there is this kind of vibe.
High tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was mainly the idols and the cartoon characters, like I don't know, Dragon Ball and Pikachu and shit like this. But actually, I keep on seeing it every day. You know,
Yeah.
I like look everywhere, and it's, I mean, like this little, I don't know, bears. You know, that they are talking and they're all the time, "Hi, what is that?" Like super high pitched voice. So I guess that preconception hasn't been broken yet, but
Sometimes they're true, though. Sometimes preconceptions are true.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, the drummer, Noe-san?
I guess the high tech thing too, mostly also the arcades and the video games things.
I never knew that
Actually-
actually there would be like so big houses full of
Yeah.
games, and
Yeah, and people
That's-
from every age are playing all the time.
Yeah.
that's really crazy actually.
And seeing some game. Yesterday we were in one of those arcades, like I don't know, six floors of video games and stuff, and I think I could not understand half of the games because they go too fast and it's
Yes,
so many
yes.
things happening. You're like,
Yeah, probably like
What?
70% of
What's
the
that?
games that are there, you know, that we don't never see them or we never know about in the Western society, I guess.
Those video games are very true. They're very colorful and lots of button pushing, and
Yeah.
there's not like a story happening. It's not like a Mario game or something. It's a bizarre, complex. You push a whole complex of buttons, and then something happens on the screen as a result.
Yesterday we saw a guy
don't
that it
get
was like 2 volume knobs plus like 4, I don't know, buttons, and it was like some kind of DJing thing, and it was like so fast. Like actually I could not understand any of what was going on, but it was like so impressive to see it, you know, and like the guy was like completely, I don't know, he was a master on it. So
Yeah.
I guess he spends every weekend there.
He
A lot of
probably
money, I
does.
guess.
Yeah. That's why they have those companion houses.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All right.
Really looking forward to the cherry blossom. We didn't even realize that we would have come during this period,
Oh yeah.
but it's gonna be next week, I guess.
It started already.
Alright.
There's an official cherry blossom government party, and they tell you when it's time to start partying, and they announced it yesterday. or the day before.
Wow. So we
So
should be
amazing.
partying right now.
We should be underneath the sakura. If I was a better podcaster, I would have pre-planned that. I would have said, you know what, it's time to get these Swiss guys or whoever, wherever you're from, underneath the cherry blossoms with some nihonshu and microphones. But if you go to Yoyogi Park, that's near Shinjuku, and you can easily access the park there. They're very foreigner friendly. Tons of cherry blossoms everywhere. Yeah, I really recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's take
Also, the proportions of everything. I don't know. We haven't been around many places, but we're walking through the little streets, the urban places, and the dimensions are really weird. Like we saw some, like some little parts of new buildings being built.
Yeah.
Like just the underground parts of the foundations. Yeah, and if you look at it from the outside while it's still down, you could never think that some people could fit in there and have a normal, spacious, daily life in a way in a house. And also, like our room, I mean, we are doing pretty extreme, but our room has these 3 big beds and nothing else basically. And all the houses are pretty small. Like the proportions are really the cars too. Like they try to be as much similar as a cube possible, so they can fit everywhere, but they can also fill up the space inside.
Yeah.
It's really like extremely, how do you say, efficient.
Pragmatic, yeah.
And I wonder.
But it's not efficient in straight lines. It's
No,
like
it's
it's
a
like
mess.
this mangled city, but everything is just to the millimeter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But also as paradox, I mean, in comparison, there is those huge buildings that are like, I mean, it's also like using the space at its best. I mean, like trying to compact everything, but you have this huge building against those really small houses, and that's, as a contrast, it's really interesting, I think.
I actually expected many more skyscrapers, and maybe there is a part of the city where there are a lot that I didn't see.
Yeah, where I work in Shiodome, there's a lot of skyscrapers, very
Right.
modern ones. It's very much like districts. This place, the cities kind of grew into each.
So
other.
here we are in a urban, kind of more domestic.
Yeah, we're in a bedroom community in Nakano here, and this is where, just regular people going about their daily business tend to hang out. You don't get a lot of punk culture in this area of the city. It's just people walking around.
Punk culture, you said.
Yeah, like in Koenji, which is the next station over, that's the birthplace of Tokyo punk, and there's like a whole bunch of subculture there, and it's kind of a bit grimier. A lot of grilling chicken underneath the train tracks, open beers and things like that. It's pretty cool. I'd recommend checking out Koenji, walking around Koenji for sure. Yeah,
We'll do that
yeah.
tonight.
Sounds
maybe?
good.
Tonight.
Yeah, later on.
I wonder. Okay, before we take a break, I wanted to ask you guys about you already mentioned your influences. What you guys are kind of not necessarily. It's like shoegazer jazz, something along those lines, where it's not shoegazer tends to be a little bit sloppy, right, and a little bit unfocused, hence the shoegazer. But you guys do like very tight time signature kind of stuff, and even within regular 4/4. You're still pushing this, playing around with the time in a way. And with that one single you did, that switches to 3/4 in the middle there. And is that in 7/8?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very technical, but it's not like overly loud rock and roll. Like there's a chilled out tone to the mix. So what's going on? What are your influences?
Well, the influences are super wide because we come from different places and we love folk music, like American folk, but also
Johnny
music from-
Cash.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like this kind of folk, Bob Dylan, and etc. But we also like the folk music from different countries like India and Africa. And sometimes some people come to us and ask or tell that we do difficult music because there is a 7/8 or a 15/8 or whatever, a bar of 4/4 and a bar of 3/4. But if you listen carefully to music from India and Africa and other cultures, this is all over their music and it
Yeah.
feels natural. So what we try to do is not being complicated at all, but just sometimes we have some ideas which come from the experience of playing this kind of music inside the jazz domain that we play a lot too, and so we basically don't want to be technical or virtuosistic, but just create some little different
Gesture, I would say.
yeah, gestures or nuances inside a more pop music kind of.
When you say pop, what do you mean? Do you mean Rihanna?
No, pop like stuff that people listen to, and pop
Okay.
like Beatles once, popular but not necessarily completely mainstream. Just music that everybody would kind of enjoy somehow, or not everybody, but that could be accessible.
Who writes the songs?
Mostly the ideas start from me, and then we kind of play them together in the rehearsal room, and then find ideas and ways to, like,
Arrange them. somehow.
yeah, create a puzzle with
Mhm.
ideas, or like, I don't know, to give it a form.
Somehow trying to satisfy everyone's mind,
Yeah,
because not all the time it works. And it's like, yeah, I want to go there, but like there's someone maybe like, yeah, but we want to go there, and maybe it works better that way. And so, I mean, we try
Takes
to
a lot
be
of
as
time.
democratic as possible. But
Sometimes
sometimes you
it's-
have to be a totalitarian.
it was fun. Once we were composing a song, and it's called How Far, and there was this bass line that I wrote, and I brought it to the first rehearsal, and they all loved it. And then I came to the second rehearsal, and I wanted to cancel it for another bass line, which was much more of a douchebag line,
Whoa.
which is actually the line of the refrain. But before ending to the spot in which we kept both,
We fought.
we fought for 1 hour. You are a you don't like this mainstream shit, and now we gotta do the pensative one only. But in the end,
We found a
Yeah, we made it
compromise.
it
work.
was worth it and necessary to scream at each other and end up in a common ground. So yeah, so we don't want to be too hard to listen to. Like, some people say we are jazz, but I don't hear so much jazz in it. Maybe I hear more of a research of different ways that you can express yourself inside a normal song, like structured music.
Sure. The guitar tone for what, Deep Inside?
Far inside.
Far Inside, sorry, I'll get it. I listened to it like 5 or 6 times. The guitar sound does sound a bit like a jazz guitar. Like, it's not, there's not a lot of, there's like a tone, like a lot of tone in the guitar recording at least. So is that true? Sometimes, so you guys went to London to do your recording. Did the way that the engineer record your songs turn out differently from the way that you normally sound or produce your music? That happens.
Yeah, it's happening right now because we are still producing our album. Like,
Okay.
the Far Inside is from a live session, while now
Was that all recorded together
Yeah,
at one time?
we
Fucking
did
hell. That's
couple of
good.
takes.
That's really good. Yeah. Really good. Because it sounded like, I thought it was like a studio recording. No. So that's all live. Good. Huh.
And now we're working on our album. The first tune should be released today.
The first what?
The first tune of this new album.
Tune?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you understand?
Yeah, yeah. Yoon. I didn't hear the T. Yeah,
right.
I was like, the Yoon. I thought that was like the first Yoon was the name of the song.
Unit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
So we are experiencing that, like treating this material that we recorded in London and producing it with also more digital techniques. The music is changing constantly, and we're adapting to the live performances with samples and Ableton.
Who does the
Patches.
synth? On synth is the...
And I am
Alvin.
synth, but they are more launching stuff for now, like
Okay.
samples. And
What about for your bass? What kind of approach do you take? Like
Actually,
you're from
my-
Caracas, but they're like talking about Indian stuff, and now you're on bass.
He's a
well,
bit Indian too.
Yeah, actually, my father's side family comes from India. Somaroids, an Indian.
Because there's a large Indian population in the north of South America.
Yeah, mostly in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
Actually, like my grandfather.
And is it French Guinea as well?
Yeah, Papua
Yeah,
Guinea.
yeah, around there.
But yeah, like my grandfather, he went from India to Trinidad and then Trinidad to Venezuela. That is like really fairly close.
Wow.
So
Full circle.
But I mean, the way that I approach my bass sound, it's I don't know, like trying to, because I played a lot of Latin music as well before, and I played in some rock bands before, but somehow I try to do it way different than I do it with Latin music and stuff like this, because it's completely another genre. I mean, I just use some pedals, and I go straight to the amplifier. But as well, I play some synth bass, and I go through Ableton and do some
Okay.
processing as well there. So it really depends on whatever we need and whatever we want to go for.
Gotcha. What about drums? Where did you learn to play drums?
Well, I don't know. No, my parents are musician, both pianists, but they always have a drum set at home, so I always play the drums. Yeah, they always did. Why didn't you? Better you didn't somehow, I don't know. Also for the recording, actually, one big change of how like we produced some demos before going to London,
Yeah.
and we recorded the drums pretty clean, like normal miking and sounds not jazz but pretty clean. And in London we added some distortion mics, so mics that you put into preamps and into compressors that you really push a lot, and it gives really a lot of distortion to the sound, and that's something we really added in the production, I think. And
Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it very much.
You like it? It's
Yeah.
cool.
Sounds fat.
It sounds pretty fat.
Interesting.
And also, more for the live, I usually add effects to the drums. So I have some mics which I send, for example, the snare into the computer, and I add myself some reverb, some delays, some different effects like this.
I saw your rider, your stage rider, whatever it's called, everyone looks like they're surrounded by technology. Is that
Yeah,
what
it's
you're
kind of
going to
like
be
this.
doing for your
Yeah.
shows in Japan too?
Yeah,
It's-
We have enough time.
It's
To
like
set up.
there's
we
a
have
lot of
enough time,
boxes
yeah.
that say synth.
Yeah, we are planning different setups because it needs some time to have the full one, like with my vocal effects and the synths and the analog synths and the digital synths and the samplers and the effects and 3 dots. But so since some gigs here in Japan are not going to be that long, and the soundcheck time also is not going to be so extended because
That's
there are
right.
many bands, we also can play more acoustic sometimes. So it depends from the situation. And
Okay.
Yeah,
needs.
as well, we had to like build like a
new
special
setup, yeah.
setup for the tour, because also we couldn't bring as much stuff as we would have liked, you know,
Yeah.
like the Prophets or
Yeah, usually I have
like
2
my
synths and I
sampler.
compact them into one.
Okay.
like just put one over each other and then press the
Sandwich. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take a break. Okay. So, thank you very much. I would like to take a break, and then on the other side, I'd like to talk about. You said the music is changing, and there's technology that's becoming more and more important. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and spend a little bit more time talking about technology. Is that okay?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
10 years in Japan, motherfuckers. 10 years, 10 years, only in Japan. 10 years in Japan, motherfuckers. 10 years, only in Japan. Used to drink Asahi, now I'm on to Tokyo Blues. Hey, oh, gonna meet up with my band on the street. Gonna talk and I meet with a think about the scene over here, yeah. See me hollering down, come down, holler at me. Oh yeah, 10 years in Japan. 10 years in Japan, motherfuckers. 10 years, only in Japan.
Yo.
from the balls.
We were eating pulpo.
We're gonna go for a bit of PR office while you record the second set.
Some PR with a focus on P.
Especially PPR.
Yeah. Good. All right. So let's continue this pod. It's getting a little bit late. It's been 45 minutes since the clock has rang, because it's a specific time. So I shouldn't use the past, the present perfect to define that. As we all know, English teachers unite. So we got to move on to the tech. Technology is changing. There's a technological revolution people are pushing it. Do you know about this? Called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
I didn't know about the name though.
You know, 5G, automation, artificial intelligence. Social media is censoring more and more, and Facebook is always changing its algorithms. It's becoming much more of a pain in the ass to get anything done on social media, and then social media just sells out to the highest bidder, meaning like what we were talking about before, the media now gets to dictate what happens on social media because they just sell each other's advertising space. So do you guys have plans to progress further in this internet world, right? Because we're here because of the internet. We met through the internet. So it's very useful. But I'm finding myself more and more suspicious of social media activities and things like Twitter banning people, Facebook limiting certain algorithms. You have to pay to get access now. What are your thoughts on music and technology at the moment?
Well, at the same time, it's completely necessary, as you said. Like, it links many more people together, and without that free way to communicate, we would be probably meeting many less people and having the chance to reach many less people. But there is a lot of alienation as well, and I think in Japan it's pretty spread as a phenomenon. Like, I heard about this ikikomori, and
Yes.
they spend a lot of time out of the society due also to the fact of
Those are people that just live inside their own homes and don't
Yeah.
leave, yeah.
so they probably spend a lot of time with fake contacts, fake names, fake accounts
Sure.
on media. So that's really dangerous. So of course we need to get to people through medias, but we don't want to alienate ourselves into the system. So we would like to keep ourselves like human and hold this natural aspect that is so bound to being human beings. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to deal with systems, bigger systems, like the algorithms are kind of like laws from the country, so you cannot do anything from below because you don't affect them, you are just affected by them. But you can be aware of these situations and also tell to people that it's happening, because it's easy to forget or to be unaware of things happening.
Yeah, I like the idea of alienation. Not I like that idea, but the one that you bring up is a good one. It puts people in groups and doesn't really let them leave. So do you guys have plans to do like a website? Here's my thinking, to be honest, because I have to research tech. And the way I see it is that the mainstream is entering into the internet more and more, and they're trying to reclaim it because regular people have the narrative in the internet. And it used to be the internet was subculture to the mainstream. For example, your TV news or whatever. But now more and more people are getting into the internet and using that as a way to distribute information freely. And that is a direct threat to the mainstream. So the mainstream sees themselves with an out-of-date infrastructure, and they're kind of salivating greedily at the increased speed of which information can be delivered via online. And now they're trying to reclaim that territory. How do we prepare? I don't know. I'm thinking of because these social media sites are decentralized platforms, and they just kind of change things all the time. So I'm focusing more on trying to build up my own website with the content available there and reaching out from there and using social media as just like an outlet or something like that. I see increased censorship and I see increased manipulation of the algorithms by people. Most of these people at Twitter are like in their 20s, but they're making algorithms for the world. What could go wrong? So have you guys thought about this at all?
We do have a website, but to reach people right now, either you're already big and you don't need social media so much, but we need that anyway to tell them to go to our website. So we want to keep...
What's your website?
www.immigrationunit.net.
What's the first? www.
www.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo, woo, woo.
That was in Italian, yeah. www.immigrationunit.net.
Okay.
And so we have to keep communicating on social medias, but we need to keep this humanity and write contents, because it's a lot of people are just moving into social medias with instant kind of how do you say, instant posting, or posts that like just expect instant answers or reactions by the people, the audience. But if you can keep delivering a certain content, then you can slow down this super fast process of posting, liking, sharing, or whatever. Like, just give something that people need to slow down to really understand, so that can.
Okay. So you think slow down. You're repeating the word slow down. So why do you think slow down?
Because it's anyway going faster. So if you don't want to get kind of flooded by these thousands of inputs every minute, you have to also slow down and
keep a distance somehow. So.
yeah.
How about the idea? So for me, the idea of CDs, I still have some and I plan on selling them, but I want to go, like, when's the last time you saw a CD player for sale? And when's the last time you went like, oh my God, a CD player is for sale. I can't wait to get one to put my new CDs inside of it. Like, it's been a long time since I felt that way, even though CDs are still valid and they're still sold worldwide. How are we supposed to go forward releasing music? Because it's so fast, but making music takes a long time, as we all know. You have to argue with each other for hours about one moment in a song, and then you release that song into the internet, and poof, So I'm wondering how we can get music to be more incorporated into the current media sphere. Instead of having these albums, because you can release an album, poof, the next day it's gone, right? Weird Al released an album a couple of years ago, and he made a video for every song for 1 week. And then a month later, everything he did was out of the media cycle. I mean, worldwide. So I'm wondering how it's possible to update music. Like, for example, we have these laws. Like, if you want to play certain music on YouTube, you're going to get pulled off of YouTube. Well, that means music is not being applied into YouTube, and people will use other materials instead of music in YouTube to get their message across. So music in many ways is being left out of the current media trends because of all of these existing laws based around CD sales and rights and ownership, which means somebody has to pay you money somehow through this complex international. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how YouTube decides that I get 0.003 cents for some person that streamed music of mine that I did sometime. I don't know. Do you guys feel like the way the existing music laws have operated are not helping music progress further inside of current media trends? Thoughts?
I guess so. Well, it's not easy to understand what's really going on with what should be the right way to deliver your music and to publish your music. I guess consistency is like the best plan that you can have, like to keep on posting stuff really often. Maybe not every day, but like maybe one song each month instead of one album one day. But I don't really know the laws deeply. But for sure, anything that keeps things from being freely reachable, freely foundable, blocks somehow spreading. But this is also good because anyway, we have less and less chances to get some like support, like some economical response from music, because everything can be downloadable for free or found for free. So it's also cool that some things are not letting everything go inside the web, but it's really hard.
Yeah, for me, it's music's existential dilemma, to be honest, because music used to be the top, these CDs and CD players, and then iPod and music. But now with the 4G, it allowed people to stream videos and update the credit card information in subway tunnels. So we're looking at a vast difference in the way that media and art is being consumed amongst the public. And sometimes I feel like musicians aren't up to date with the changes of technology, and we're still thinking about Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and those days are so far gone. I'm wondering how to update the way to think about it. Have you thought about any of this?
Well, you can see many people posting stuff on Facebook. The Facebook videos are much more easy to spread around than normal videos. So that's already, it seems like the main platforms where people just release stuff somehow.
I don't mean to sound negative. I want to challenge it, like deeply. I want to figure out a way to consider how it's being done. I know I'm dominating this section here, but I was recently watching some YouTube videos of country musicians from America, and these guys have an infrastructure inside of their own country where they can travel around north, east, west, and south. But their YouTube videos are garnering hundreds of thousands of views. So there's like a digital infrastructure and as well as a physical infrastructure where if they go to a new place, that YouTube video with hundreds of thousands of views is going to welcome them there.
Of course.
That seems to be a very unique, but they're country musicians, they're traditional musicians. So this seems to be like an overlapping of sorts, but I'm not sure how to do it. I have a very different experience because I'm like a white guy in Japan trying to do music. So it's quite of a different, like considering algorithms, the folks in Silicon Valley aren't creating algorithms for Canadians living in Japan to expand their music on social media. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm not trying to complain either. I'm bashing my head against this wall going, what's the next step? Because it's coming.
I guess organizing people, I mean, like in such a way that I don't know, we say like, yeah, we don't release. I mean, it would be like such a worldwide, I don't know, situation, like kind of impossible. But if like all musicians would say like, yeah, we don't release any more stuff, like until like we get the conditions that we really need, then for sure something will change. But yeah, that's the thing, you know, like we don't really complain about the stuff that we're not getting somehow. So how can we expect a change if we don't work towards that?
Yeah.
But the change is happening anyway, and people would never stop.
Yeah, but
releasing.
it's out of our hands somehow, you know, like the big guys decide like which media it's going out and like what do we consume as.
But still, like bands that are successful are not chosen by big guys, but people that find them out and stick to them. So
Definitely.
it always comes down to normal people in that case. You have to find, I believe that the music of many bands potentially could be like in a high level of response from audience, but just some make it to get to this point where they can be having an algorithm of a page that has a lot of likes or in whatever place in the internet that gives you this exposure. But once you get there, many people will recognize that they like you, but you have to be heard for getting there. So there is a lot of chaos and many people trying. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like also, I mean, as you said, we have like, if you want to stream your music on YouTube, you need like video content or some, so you have to kind of expand. It's not just music anymore. It's like taking, it's like getting wider on all those. I mean, it's beyond music. Yeah, it's like all this business part and.
yeah, maybe the primary, without doubt, the primary branch of art right now is the video one. Like from movies it went to videos and series, and most of the people would watch a song because of the video, or like the mainstream audience, or just know a song by watching a series and listening to the soundtrack. So it's probably music comes back to the live performance because it's actually what it is really in the end. And we shouldn't try to fight against the fact of not being as powerful as the video media.
Like an analog version.
Of
Because if it's all video, music is not necessarily about video. It's an auditory experience.
exactly.
So we need like an auditory platform, an audio platform. But then there's like SoundCloud. But I feel like with music, we had like a real advantage with the CDs. And then when SoundCloud and these other platforms came out, it felt like it was just kind of throwing music into the air and hoping for the best. Like, I don't really... Do you guys go to SoundCloud? Or are you like, oh, today I'm going to go to SoundCloud? Have you ever done that?
Not really.
No?
I used to do that,
Yeah.
but many years ago when actually like kind of came out, and I was like mainly discovering new bands and stuff like this. Like, I don't know, something that you may like and stuff like this. But nowadays I don't go to SoundCloud, to be honest.
But Spotify, everybody uses Spotify.
Spotify. But the profits you get are very limited.
Yeah.
Like, it's 0.003 cents or kroner or whatever.
Yeah,
It's not... It's like it costs me more to check how much I'm making in value of my time than to actually just do something else with it. So I felt like with the past 10 years, music in the form of art got the short end of the stick. But I think with the next 10 years, we're at a kind of a moment where we can figure out how to use the technology in musicians in a way that benefits musicians more. But I'm not sure how. It would require like a cryptocurrency, or it would require like a infrastructure that's based on payment.
I was thinking about that. It sounds pretty sad, but like every 10 seconds that you listen to a song, it goes down into bank account or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's really weird and sad.
Or donation methods as well, like with Patreon and all these other new websites. People seem willing to be like, oh, I listened to that song, I'll pay a couple of bucks there. If there could be like a donation method or something like that. And because SoundCloud removes the personality of a band, if you notice that. Because SoundCloud is trying to promote its own brand. Because every SoundCloud page looks like a SoundCloud page.
Yeah.
So, but if you could have like your identity in an internet form with a donation option, like Bitcoin or a currency or PayPal, and you could be like, hey, you like the song? Send us some money. Something along those lines, like a internet-based donation model. Based on the band, not based on the website that the band is on, but based on the band itself. If the band itself could have its own unique algorithm that could be slicing through the internet and finding the people that want to hear that kind of music and bringing some revenue home, that sounds really cool to me.
Gotta be an hacker first before being a musician, I guess.
I know, but so like, then do bands need their own computer scientist
I guess.
in the group? But that would be cool. It'd be cool to have a computer scientist.
Maybe at some point we also get access to those algorithms. I mean, if it gets like more popular and that a lot of people is using it, maybe at some point also to get like everybody will use it. I don't know.
What?
Those algorithms that like help you to.
Algorithms for sale.
Then we are from the starting point again.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always like this. I mean, some people have new features and they enjoy it, and then everybody gets it. I mean,
Yeah, to get an algorithm that goes through the doors of social medias is not so easy, I guess. It must be even illegal sometimes, or what? What does that mean, really? Actually,
I don't know. The social media always just reinvents itself. Hey, we're launching a new algorithm. It's all changed now. You know, what do you mean? I just spent a lot of time on this, and now you decide to change it? Like, and now you're banning people randomly? I don't know. So, but what do you? So, I'm sure that I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that some of these ideas that I'm talking about are kind of new. because I work in tech and I have to research advanced tech. But based on what I'm saying, as musicians and as we can experience this new technological front to impact us, what are your thoughts? Let's hear from the Noe first, the drummer.
I don't know. The only thing I think is that we don't get paid enough for what we do. That's the only thing at the end.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to change this with algorithms or whatever. I think we should more educate people that they have to pay for what they get. So they should go by themselves, pay for the thing on internet. Like Spotify, you cannot buy the album, I think, no? You can download
depends
it
on
or
Spotify's
get
approach to your
exactly.
region. And
So
et
that's
cetera.
a bit weird already, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I really prefer the model of CDs or vinyl, so you go to a shop and you buy the thing. Even if there is some issue with like the shares between the musician and the record company and everything, but that's up to our business. But yeah, I think the whole internet thing of selling music is really weird and doesn't work at all. But I think it's
works for
more
some
coming
people.
from the people. We should educate people that it's not the same model anymore, but we should make it more similar to the old model.
But we'll have to use the upcoming technology, because if you use the new technology first, then you have the advantage of knowing how it progresses from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a shame that actually, like sites like Spotify, SoundCloud. I mean, it's a great platform to discover new stuff, but it's also a shame that it
I was
got
like on
so.
Spotify. Spotify is good, but I was on SoundCloud, and it's just like, I gotta tell you about it. I've never heard anybody say
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but I think that, I mean, with all these crazy platforms and like people, like mainstream people, like get access like so easily. They don't know actually the value and like all the work that it's behind all these
Yeah,
albums
exactly.
and all the music that it's in there. So because they got it so easy, they don't really know like how to actually donate to the cause and
Yeah,
and
because they're
be
listening
consequent
on
with
the
it.
Spotify platform. They're not
Yeah.
listening to you, they're listening to Spotify.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Your synth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Alvin.
Well, I think, I mean, as Noé said before, I don't think I have a plan about it. I mean, I don't know how to solve it, but yeah, I also do think that educating people, because as everybody said already, I mean, it's a lot of time invested in creating this music and putting ourselves into it, and then it's like just one click to like consume it, and all. I mean, this consumption, I don't know, we kind of have to guide it to help us like going further doing music, because it's becoming, I mean, I think it's hard now to like be a band and to exist like from this. We are kind of obliged to play live shows, and even by this it's also hard like to live, so I think it's time to find something.
Maybe it's an era of singularity, like actually who make it really good are DJs. It's not that, it's just we are musicians from bands and acoustic music, and we think that it's dead, and we kind of sometimes sound like those employers that lost their job when machines were
Sure.
created,
Yeah.
like in the end of, like in the first.
Fuck the automobile.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a horse company.
Exactly, we sound like that, but actually music, or music that lives by the public and not by infrastructures or like a court music or a music of a state or a channel of a TV, like which belong to a bigger system, but music that is supported by people and lives because of that has been mostly in the past connected to dance, and jazz was like this, and rock and roll was like this, and now DJs are doing pretty fine, I guess.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
going
yeah.
alone, so they don't have many expenses. The gear is not so expensive, but I guess if you ask to average people, they would think that music is more that thing that what we're doing ourselves. So we are in a minority. We are talking from a little distorted or side of culture position as a group of people in the big picture. So, and they are making it also through these platforms, or actually they're making it through the performances that they have in clubs where people pay more than a CD amount of money for just going to dance 3 hours. So
Yeah, it's an experience.
yeah.
So the key is go to live shows, support the bands. If you go to live shows, you have a good time. That's my experience.
As
Yeah.
good as in the
Usually.
club.
Usually. Yeah, and if not, you just drink excessively. But anyways, so I think that's enough. I'm trying to get this idea of this next technological revolution. It's not a myth. It's not happening. It's happening, and if we can, as musicians, gain an advantage into it somehow from the beginning, just like comedians really got into podcasting when it first came out, now comedy is huge, partly because of podcasting. So if we can access this next revolution from the inception of it, then perhaps we can incorporate it into our music and convince people to introduce some sort of reciprocity to the music in a digital format.
Definitely.
All right. Immigration unit. It's been a blast. I think that's enough. Any final thoughts?
Well,
Just-
looking forward for the next gigs, and if you're around, please come by.
Please come by. Check out the show notes. The information is there for all the shows that they will be doing in Japan. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And check out our website because there are going to be some releases and some nice remixes and mixes of our new songs really soon on the web.
Check it out. All right. Thanks for listening. That's the end of the podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe. Check out Immigration Unit. Come to their shows. Show them some love. Show them some support. And 2 more to go. 98, 99. And then from 100 to 001. Thank you for tuning in. Take it easy and see you next time. Like and subscribe.
アイドホのことは知らないけどアイドホポテトは食べるよみんな食べるからねアイドホ来たら国立公園で月のクレーター見るんだみんな見てるからねボイシーの近くで何か食べに行こうみんな食べるからねみんな食べるからねホーチミンで会った女の子名前はセブンお気に入りの数字は11僕はいい気分セブンイレブンいい気分チャンビールチャンビールタイのチャンビールちゃんと酔っ払ったよみんな酔っ払おうからねそれであゆたや雪のチケット買って歩き回っても酔っ払ってたよみんな見てたけどねメコン川沿いに立って歴史の長さに感動だみんな気にしないけどねみんな気にしないけどねホーチミンで会った女の子名前はセブンお気に入りの数字は11僕はいい気分セブンイレブンいい気分僕の目をまっすぐ見て南に行こう南に行こう僕の目をまっすぐ見て国境の南に行こう国境の南に行こうみんないないところはいいね ビゲローバと同じビゲローバの宇宙バンガローに一部屋プリーズみんな行きたいでしょプロショの宇宙飛行士とスペースウォーカーパーティーだみんな飲みたいでしょ僕は持ってて物質で地球を見たら地図で見たのと全然違うよみんなびっくりだよねねみんなびっくり